It's a big red Monday morning that, quite honestly, Wolf was never supposed to play out like this. You go into this season, whatever your expectations were for the Arizona Cardinals, the overall expectations, just in general, remove emotion one way or the other out of it, was that they were going to be around a 500 team, and the thought was at least contending for a playoff spot. I believe the Vegas over-under was 8.5 at the start of the year. So that's right there. You're going to win 8 or 9 games. Vegas is usually spot on. Usually Vegas is within like a half game or maybe a game and a half. They're going to be way off on the Cardinals. Instead, the Cardinals were the second team mathematically eliminated from playoff contention this season. The Giants were the first. Somehow Tennessee wasn't the first, even with their record, just because of the way the teams around them and their division played out. But the Cardinals were the second team mathematically eliminated. I don't even remember the last time that happened with this team. So here we are. It's, we're starting December, and they are done. You can't even say, well, if they go on a run, they're done.
Yeah, once again, we've all been talking about one-possession games and one-possession losses, specifically the fact that they have seven losses, of course, where they lost by 4 or less points. Think about that. That is just brutal.
I don't want to think about it.
It is just incredible. If they won half those games, typically you're going to win half of those close games like that for the most part. If they won half those games right now, they'd have 6 wins. Mm-hmm. If they got kooky and won 4 of those 7, oh my goodness, which is still almost half. Think about it. They'd have 7 wins on the season. And, man, it just has not gone their way, Basinonians. And I can tell you right now, for the most part, this is a pattern we have seen. And for me, generally speaking, there are 3 reasons why you typically lose one-possession games. Number 1, lack of playmakers. You just don't have enough talent on the field. And I'm not talking about talent as in wide receivers and running backs. I'm talking about every position that is on the field, offensively and defensively. Just don't have enough guys that are talented making plays. Ladies and gentlemen, an offensive guard can actually make a play. He can make a play because of his talent. So don't think of just wide receivers in that. I'm talking about guys make a great block, spring a running back in a tight situation.
It's funny you say that because I try to think of guys who have made a big play in a big moment this season. Game on the line, who steps up and makes a play. And the 2 that really come to mind are Budda Baker in week 1, ripping that ball away in the end zone. I mean, they could have lost to New Orleans in week 1. And Calais at the end of the Carolina game.
That's right, the sack.
And that's it. I mean, all of these other close one-score games, it's not like nobody made plays all game, obviously. You played Green Bay close. You played the Colts close. You played Tampa close yesterday. You played Seattle close. San Francisco the first time around. But nobody's making a play with the game on the line.
Yes, lack of playmakers where you just don't have the talent to make plays happen when it matters the most. That's one area. Number 2 is in-game coaching decisions a coach will make that impact possessions. I'm not talking about play calling, ladies and gentlemen. You know the way I feel about it. Are there offensive coordinators that will call a bad play from time to time? Yes. Are there defensive coordinators that'll miss? Yes. It happens from time to time, yet at the same time, for the most part, do your job. Execute the play. Don't get whipped. And maybe the play will work. So don't get me started on that. But I'm talking about 4th and 1 decisions. When do you go for it? When do you not? That's a big-time possession decision that is made in a football game. And yesterday, it reared its head, did it not? I think of the Cardinals missing players yesterday. I think there's been no doubt about that. And yet at the same time, some coaching decisions have also cost the Arizona Cardinals games.
Yeah, I mean, to talk about that 4th down play for just a second, and again, I know you're trying to be aggressive, but just think it out for a second. Set aside the analytics sheet. You know, there's anytime you question a fourth down call, there's the analytics crowd. And I don't mean the ones that believe in analytics, because there's obviously a lot of validity to that, but the ones that, like, that's all they just look at the chart. The chart will coach for you. You don't need a player, just look at the chart.
Duh.
If you get that first down, you're at your own 40. You didn't win the game. If you don't get the first down, you're down 2 scores. And that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Is the risk versus the reward, is it worth it? You don't get the first, Tampa kicks a field goal. Oh, hey, Tampa won by that exact field goal.
Yes.
If you get the first, you're still 60 yards away from scoring. So I think there's time and place. I could sit here and nitpick every coach in the NFL with the benefit of hindsight. I'm not trying to do that, but just to your point, I just think there's a time and a place to be aggressive. You got to be selectively aggressive.
Yes.
And it obviously didn't work yesterday.
Yeah. Can I also say this, based on you're 3-8. You're 3-8. Maybe that factored in as well. The fact that you are 3-8. You know, we're having a rough time here. We're 3-8. Are you kidding me? Even though there's 10 minutes and 46 seconds on the clock, we're going to go for it here. And that's exactly what they did. It did not work. But can I also say sometimes, too, that kind of decision in game will oftentimes be frowned upon by even players that are in the locker room, because you know what it looks like to them? Desperation. Like, we're just going for it. We're just going for it because we're 3-8. That's why we're going for it. As opposed to saying, hey, what do you say we punt the ball here?
Our defense
has been playing really, really well. Let's punt the ball here. We got good field position at the 39. We should be able to get it inside the 10, somewhere there. We'll punt the ball and see what happens. You know, it reeked of desperation is what it did. And I wonder, you know, once again, it's not like these guys pick up on that, but I wonder in hindsight if they'd think differently if it happened again.
It did feel like something that you do when you're 3-8 and you're like, let's just, go for it, whatever. But they've been pretty consistent in their words, the coaching staff, of saying, no, our record's not going to dictate our in-game play calling decisions or our decision-making process. So you put this in your email, just sort of a comparison between Jacoby Brissett and Baker Mayfield yesterday. And there's been a lot of talk today. I know Bickley had a piece, how much of this can you really blame on Jacoby Brissett? Jacoby Brissett has 1 win since he took over as a starter. If you want to pin it, if you want to go record pinned entirely on quarterbacks, everybody's going to take heat after this season, obviously, because there's no guarantee they even win a 4th game right now with the way the schedule looks ahead of them. I think they will, but big deal. 4 wins was not the goal at the start of the year. But how do you assess Jacoby Brissett now compared to the first maybe 1 or 2 games where he came in, where sometimes a backup quarterback can kind of sneak up on the league? He's been playing now for a while.
He has been playing, yeah. That 4-game sample size, Basinonians, once again, you take 4 games and you string it together. And that, to me, is where you can start evaluating teams. You can start evaluating units, whether it's offense or defense, after 4 weeks. And you can evaluate players, I think, as well, after 4 weeks. That's a large enough sample size to start connecting some dots and saying, what are we seeing here with Jacoby Brissett? And this guy has played exceptionally well, in my opinion. Just yesterday is a great example of this. 29 of 40. 29 of 40. This is a guy that was under duress, a guy that pulled the ball down and actually made some plays with his legs, though you can see he's struggling the whole time for the most part.
Pressured on 52% of his dropbacks.
52% of his dropbacks, but 29 of 40 for 301 yards. This loss is not on Jacoby Brissett. That's what I know. And he also had a quarterback rating of 100.1.
Yeah.
He outplayed Baker Mayfield.
I liked the signing when they got him because he's just steady. I think he's one of the best backups in the league. He's actually been better than I thought he'd be, because when they signed him, I thought it would be like, okay, he's going to be a good mentor to Kyler at the time. And, you never know. Backup quarterback's probably going to have to play a game or 2 or maybe 3. Yep. And I feel like with Jacoby Brissett, you have a chance to win all 2 or 3 of those games. I mean, yesterday was his 7th start. And they only have one win in those 7 starts, but he has played well, especially when you consider the offensive line. And I only care about this stuff more so for what it means going forward. Is your quarterback next year, is it Jacoby Brissett and you're drafting a guy to learn under Jacoby Brissett? Are you bringing back Kyler? He's eligible to come off IR right now if he's deemed healthy enough. He's missed the 4 games since that Dallas game when they put him on IR the next day. He's missed Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Tampa. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot of talk of him coming back this season, but he could at some point. Is he still your guy next year? Does any of this matter if you can't fix your offensive line? Because to your point, we're talking up Jacoby Brissett, and I can already hear the people that are not on board with Jacoby saying, dude, they scored 17 points. And that's true. And he threw a bad interception.
Yeah.
But the second he snaps the ball, he's about to get sacked every time. And by the way, that was the same for Kyler, too. They're not blocking for the quarterbacks.
Yeah. And, when you stop and think about it, look at the numbers Jacoby Brissett has posted. Yeah. He's thrown for almost 2,200 yards right now. How many starts?
7.
Does this guy have 7 starts?
Rick should have picked him up for his fantasy football team because fantasy numbers are outstanding for Jacoby.
So stop and think about that, Basinonians. In 7 games, 2,200 yards. So if he started 14 games, he'd have over 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
4,400 yards passing right now.
This pace, a full season, he'd be over 5,000.
You got to be kidding me. Do you know how hard that is to actually do? And then you think about the fact that, again, he's got a 97.4 quarterback rating. Anything close to 100 is good. It's not great, but it's good. Solid. Really good. And he's done that. 13 touchdowns to 4 picks. Now, yesterday was brutal. He threw a really bad pick, as far as I'm concerned. And he didn't throw it exactly to a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. It got deflected into the air. But the read was really bad. It should have been picked.
Yeah, it should have been picked by the first guy,
yes.
really. So,
the read was not good, but that rarely happens to Jacoby.
Yeah, and I don't think it's realistic to go to your backup quarterback and say, okay, you be the best guy in the league. You be better than Mahomes and Drake May and Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
He's been, I don't know, if you stacked all the quarterbacks right now that are starting games and you could somehow put them all, set aside the rest of the team, set aside the offensive line, if you just plug them all into the Rams or whatever. He's been a top half of the league quarterback for sure, which is kind of crazy considering now he's made 7 starts.
Because of his age, you're never going to look at him and say, this is our guy going forward. They're going to bring somebody else, I believe, in. Might be Kyler Murray. I have no idea. Yeah. I have no idea what's going to happen. But they're going to bring somebody else in. Jacoby Brissett, I don't think, is going to be the starter going forward unless it's a young gun, if they're going to draft somebody and bring him in to mentor. Man, you couldn't have a better mentor.
That's what the Patriots did with Drake May.
Yes.
Draft Drake May. Jacoby Brissett started the first few games
Bingo.
for New England. Then he took a back seat. Drake May took over, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yep.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.